Ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic state visit to the US, members of the Indian-American diaspora are planning to welcome him with a India Unity Day. Now, they will be taking out marches in 20 major cities across the country later today. Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US at the invitation of US President Joe Biden will begin on the 20th of June from New York and will end on the 24th of June. To welcome him, several Indian Americans will march at the same time at several iconic places across the nation, like Times Square in New York and the Golden Bridge in San Francisco. Now, in Washington, D.C., there will be a march from Washington Monument that was built to commemorate George Washington, a founding father of the United States, to the Lincoln Memorial, a national memorial that honors the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. The other cities where similar marches will be held are Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, Tampa, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, Sacramento, New York, San Francisco, Columbus, and St. Louis. Now later, the Indian American community has also planned to have an event showcasing Indian culture in front of the White House on the 21st of June, when Prime Minister Modi arrives in Washington for a state visit. Thousands are expected to gather on the south lawns of the White House on the 22nd of June, when President Biden and First Lady would welcome the Prime Minister amidst a 21-gun salute. This will be followed by Prime Minister Modi's address to an invitation-only gathering of diaspora leaders from across the country on the 23rd of June in Washington, D.C. Now, ahead of the G20 summit in September in New Delhi, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has written to G20 member countries. According to sources, he has proposed African Union to be given full membership at the upcoming summit in India's capital city. The step has been reportedly taken at the request of the African nations. Sources say Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been at the helm of this drive towards a more representative and inclusive global architecture. India currently holds the presidency of the G20. As a part of its presidency, New Delhi has been the face of the global south. Time and again, it voices out issues of developing countries on global platforms, especially for African nations. The Group of 20 currently has 19 members. It is the premier forum for international economic cooperation. The organization was founded in 1999 after the Asian financial crisis for finance ministers and central bank governors. It plays an important role in strengthening the governance on all major economic issues. For the year 2023, the G20 will focus on the theme One Earth, One Family, One Future. G20 is expected to adopt a leaders' declaration at the conclusion of the summit that would state leaders' commitment towards the priorities discussed. Now, for more on this, we are being joined live by Mr. Deepak Vora from New Delhi. He is the former Indian ambassador to the United States and is currently the special advisor to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Thank you for being with us, sir. Now, Prime Minister Modi has proposed African Union to be given full membership at this G20 summit. Why has he requested this?
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on WION. Your channel is listened to with great interest, and I, of course, watch it too to learn from you. You are one of our best anchors. Let me clarify that I'm special advisor to 3 heads of government in Africa, not in India. And all 3, of course, are very, not very important, not very large countries, Lesotho, Guinea-Bissau, and South Sudan. I've served in the United States, yes, as you said. Why are we interested in Africa? How do you leave out 54 countries? India is the voice of the global south. You do recall that in G20, we had told the developing countries that we know that your voice is not heard. many people who are watching this program would probably never have heard of Guinea-Bissau. So when these people have certain compulsions, certain ideas, certain issues, no one listens to them. And in January, when we did a virtual summit, Voice of the Global South, we said, we will raise your concerns in G20, which the Indian Prime Minister and all our ministers did. And I have been called by some of the ministers in the 3 countries that I'm privileged to serve, saying, thank you, Mr. Ambassador. India has become our voice. So that is the reason we want Africa to be included. You can't exclude 54 countries. The population is about 1.5 billion, rising very fast. They may not be economically strong, but they represent a sizable portion of the human race.
Right. And what would some of the benefits for both the African Union as well as the G20 nations be? I know that Prime Minister Modi has spoken of a more diverse and inclusive G20.
Absolutely. You know, G20, ma'am, for the people, the millions of people who watch your show, it's like an industry. There is the management. The G20 is the management of the global economy. And then we also have the group of 77 developing countries, which is now 122 or something like that. And all these little fellows are members there. That is the workers' union. So India is a bridge between the two. If you really want the voice of the world to be heard, it's not just 20 voices or the G7 or BRICS or whatever. You have to get in as many people as possible. On the other hand, we do have a fossil called the United Nations, a dinosaur. Nobody takes it seriously anymore. I don't think even the United Nations takes it seriously anymore. It's 78 years old. I'm 72. The UN is 78, 6 years older than I am. How many things do you have in your home that are 78 years old that you still find useful? It's no use at all. So we are trying to see if within G20, we are able to find a more effective forum for discussing the challenges that face us, and that we should be able, all of us sitting at the table, not everybody can be there. We don't want it to be another United Nations, but some countries like India, and India in particular, I emphasize, being the voice of the voiceless.
Right. Absolutely. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much for being with us on this broadcast, Mr. Deepak Vora.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.